Fertilization begins life's journey starts from an amazing event called fertilization. This happens when a father's sperm cell meets a mother's egg cell inside the mother's fallopian tube. The sperm is very small but swims fast, and the egg is the largest cell in the human body. Out of millions of sperm, usually only one succeeds in entering the egg. When this happens, their genetic material combines, forming a brand new cell called a zygote. This zygote has a complete set of DNA, the blueprint that decides the baby's traits, like eye color, hair type, blood group, and even some personality tendencies. This single cell already contains everything needed to develop into a human being. Right after fertilization, the zygote starts dividing into more and more cells. This process is called cell division. These cells will eventually form all parts of the baby's body: the skin, brain, heart, lungs, and every organ. At this stage, the baby is still microscopic and cannot be seen without special instruments. Yet, it is alive and growing rapidly. The zygote slowly moves toward the uterus, where it will attach and continue its development. This journey takes a few days and is the first step toward a 9-month transformation. Fertilization is special because it is the one moment when the baby's entire genetic identity is decided. From now on, every heartbeat, every breath, and every step in growth will follow this blueprint. This is truly the magical and scientific beginning of a new life. Cell division and implantation, once the zygote is formed, it begins its journey from the fallopian tube to the uterus. During this time, it divides rapidly into many cells, forming a ball-like structure called a blastocyst. This process is called cleavage. Although still tiny, the blastocyst is alive and very active. By the time it reaches the uterus, the blastocyst has hundreds of cells. Now comes a critical moment: implantation. This is when the blastocyst attaches itself to the soft lining of the uterus, called the endometrium. The uterus lining is full of blood vessels and nutrients, making it the perfect environment for growth. Implantation is like planting a seed in fertile soil. The blastocyst sinks into the lining, where it can receive oxygen and nourishment from the mother's body through a network of tiny blood vessels. This is also when the placenta begins to form. The placenta will act as the baby's lifeline for the next 9 months, delivering food, oxygen, and removing waste. This stage is very important because without successful implantation, pregnancy cannot continue. Many pregnancies end very early if the blastocyst fails to implant properly, often before the mother even knows she was pregnant. In the first few weeks after implantation, the developing baby is called an embryo. At this point, the foundation for all major organs begins to take shape. The mother's body also starts producing a hormone called HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, which signals the body to stop menstruation and is what pregnancy tests detect. From this stage, the tiny embryo is fully connected to the mother's body, ready for the next amazing phase, the creation of organs and body systems. Formation of organs by about the 3rd week after fertilization. The embryo starts forming the neural tube, which will become the brain and spinal cord. This is one of the earliest and most important steps, as the nervous system will control every function of the baby's body. Around week 4, the heart begins to develop and soon starts beating, often detectable by ultrasound as early as week 6. This heartbeat is a powerful sign that life is thriving inside the womb. During the first 8 weeks, the foundations for all major organs form: the brain, heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, stomach, and intestines. Arms and legs start as tiny buds and slowly grow longer. Facial features like eyes, nose, and mouth begin to appear. By the end of week 8, the embryo is now called a fetus. Although still small, about the size of a grape, it already has all the basic structures needed for life. The rest of pregnancy will focus on growth and fine-tuning these systems. This phase is delicate because any harmful exposure, like certain medications, alcohol, or infections, can affect organ development. That's why doctors advise pregnant women to be extra careful during the first trimester. By the end of this stage, the baby has a tiny beating heart, a developing brain, and the beginnings of all body systems, a miniature version of the newborn it will one day be. Rapid growth in second trimester, the second trimester weeks 13-27, is often called the golden period of pregnancy because the mother feels more comfortable and the baby grows rapidly. By this time, the fetus's organs are formed and now focus on maturing. The baby's skeleton starts turning from soft cartilage into hard bone. Muscles strengthen and movements become more noticeable. Mothers often feel the baby's first kicks, a moment full of joy and connection. The baby also starts developing senses. Around week 18, the ears can pick up sounds from outside the womb. The baby might respond to the mother's voice, music, or loud noises. The eyes begin to detect light, even though the eyelids remain closed until around week 26. The skin, which was thin and transparent, begins to develop a protective waxy coating called vernix caseosa. Fine hair called lanugo covers the body to help regulate temperature before birth. Inside, organs like the liver and pancreas start practicing their roles. The baby swallows small amounts of amniotic fluid, which helps the digestive system prepare for life outside. By the end of the second trimester, the baby has grown significantly from about 5 cm at week 13 to nearly 36 cm and weighing over 900 grams. This growth is powered by nutrients from the placenta and the steady work of the mother's body. Lung and brain maturity, the third trimester weeks 28-40 focuses on preparing the baby for survival outside the womb. 2 of the most important developments happen now: lung maturity and brain growth. The lungs produce a special substance called surfactant, which helps them stay open after birth so the baby can breathe air. Without enough surfactant, newborns may have breathing problems. That's why premature babies sometimes need help in the hospital. Meanwhile, the brain is growing at an incredible speed, forming billions of connections between nerve cells. These connections control movement, reflexes, senses, and even early memory. The baby's body fat also increases, helping to regulate temperature after birth. Eyes can now open and close, and the baby can even practice blinking. Sleep cycles develop, and some babies are observed sucking their thumbs, practicing for feeding after birth. By the last few weeks, the baby's organs are fully formed but continue to fine-tune their functions. The immune system strengthens by receiving antibodies from the mother, giving protection during the first months of life. Ready for birth around week 37, the baby is considered full term and ready for life outside the womb. The head usually moves down into the pelvis in preparation for delivery, a position called engagement. In the final weeks, the baby practices breathing movements, swallows amniotic fluid, and builds fat for warmth. The placenta continues to supply oxygen and nutrients until the very last moments before birth. When labor begins, powerful contractions help push the baby out through the birth canal. This is the final step in the incredible 9-month journey. At birth, the baby takes its first breath, the lungs fully expand, and the umbilical cord is cut, marking the start of life as an independent human being.